Greetings, everyone. This is Rock and Roll Spot Convention with a recap of month 4 of the current Marvel Comics event, King in Black. So, this was an odd month, as this was supposed to be the finale, but the last handful of tie-ins have yet to be released yet, including the final issue of the core series. So there actually isn't an issue of King in Black, but when you get the finale of the SpiderMan prequel tie-in, so we'll start there. In this are assembled heroes. I mean, in some cases, yes. In other cases, they're playing hero for the issue or for the story, but they go up against after Mr. E is Mr. E has been sent by Kang to the Collector's showroom, and then gets Null to basically fully empower him back up to full. He then goes back to nowhere and goes after Spidey, Rocket, Black Knight, Captain Marvel, Kang, Ulik, and Alicia. And with the help of Monica Rambeau using the Ebony Blade, she manages to destroy Mr. E. Basically, it's kind of like stabbing him with the Ebony Blade and then pushing her own power through the blade, or channeling her own powers through the blade. So yeah, Uatu attempts to travel into the future with Monica and the Blade to take on Null, but the other Watcher's like, no, that's interfering there, Uatu. You're not supposed to do that. And so, also, both Alex Smythe and Ned Leeds have their memories of the whole thing erased, explaining why we never heard about it in continuity. I hate that concept, but yeah. Anyway, and yeah, everything's back to normal. Which brings us to the present with Sword number 4. In this one, well, basically, Cable, who is under the influence of Null, ends up having something of a teleportation duel with Manifold. Now, as explained in issue 3 of Sword, Manifold doesn't teleport. It's like his powers include something similar to teleportation, but it's not actually teleportation. But during all that, Frenzy gets free and rips Null Cable's cybernetic arm off, which houses his teleportation device. So, but they're able to, get Null out of Cable's system. Then, kind of in the aftermath, Sunfire and anyone with flame or electric based powers that's dead is prioritized in the resurrection queue, and as is Fabian Cortez, whose request of an audience with the Quiet Council has been approved by Magneto, though Xavier appears to think it's a bad idea. Next up, we've got Savage Avengers number 19. Where we left off there, Conan, Nightflyer, and Deadpool were caught by the X-Men while trying to rob the Hellfire Club, and a fight ensued. We got more of that fight, and when all is said and done, Conan lays claim to the Hellfire Club as his home while on Earth, or while in the present. Which brings us to Venom versus Carnage. Yeah. Ghost Spider taking on Earth 65 Mary Jane, possessed with the Earth, basically Earth 65 Carnage symbiote. A bit of a battle of the bands. If I remember correctly, she seems to get the symbiote, the Carnage out of Mary Jane, but Null's influence appears to still be there as one of her, as there's a spiral shown in one of her eyes, at the end of the series. Then we had Return of the Valkyries #4. It wraps up the series. The all of the Valkyries, Brunhilde, the unnamed Valkyrie from before, Jane Foster, the various other deceased Valkyries, all of them joined together to take on the Headless Celestial, and also to sever the link between the Headless Celestial and All Black the Necro Sword, which they do manage to do, but yeah. And all of the dead are then the dead that have been residing within the Headless Celestial are then taken to their appropriate afterlives, including the Sentry. Speaking of the Sentry, we've got Thunderbolts #3. The Thunderbolts' plan was to basically use the Sentry's body as a bomb against Null. They recruit some of the prisoners they rescued from Ravencroft, from Ravencroft Asylum. It looks like they got it all taken care of, and seemingly even sacrificed themselves, and yeah. But no, they show up at Fisk's afterwards. They say, "Yeah, we didn't do it." You know, one of the people one of the prisoners they recruited from Ravencroft makes very convincing illusions, and she created an illusion and made everyone think, "Oh yes, the Thunderbolts detonated Sentry's body," but it didn't do the trick. But basically, the Thunderbolts tell Fisk, "We're your Thunderbolts now. We expect to be paid often and well." Then we've got the Amazing Spider-Man one-shot. Spidey teams up with former Avengers Academy student Reptile. They fight off a symbiote dragon, and then they just kind of, get a lesson in heroing, and part of it is, you keep going. You hope, it's not, okay, well, we did this, it's time to call it a night. No, if there's hundreds of symbiote dragons, you take one down, you go after the next one. But yeah, good stuff. And we've got Captain America one-shot, while Bucky and Falcon are trying to stem the tide of Null's forces. Cap has volunteered to help, but he's having issues from when he was under Null's influence, and is having to still fight off the last bits of Null's influence within him. He eventually does, and day is saved. Then we've got Wicked and Hulkling. It's their honeymoon at a Shi'ar resort moon, as the invasion kicks off, as Null's invasion kicks off, and so they do what they can to save everyone at the resort, including bringing in the assistance of the fleet of the Kree-Skrull Alliance. And yeah, everything. But yeah, it's very much things are going well. Also, they have a robot that basically a wine serving robot or drone, courtesy of Sunspot. And then we've got Scream. So this is the second time in King of Black we've seen Scream, and the first time is referenced being as having been in Planet of the Symbiotes #1. So Scream is going after some of Carnage's brood, namely at the moment Demogoblin, formerly known as Shriek, and Demogoblin. But during their fight, Null appears, basically dismisses Demogoblin, wanting to know why Scream isn't his. And so we get a lot of, basically, she has to fight him. In practically every way you can imagine. And she uses the current host of the Scream symbiote, Andy Benton? Yeah, Andy Benton uses her own mystical powers to stave off Null, and it seems to do the trick, at least for now. Then, finally we've got King Black Ghost Rider, which kind of serves as being the conclusion to Ed Brisson's Ghost Rider series, which was kind of canceled mid-story. Ghost Rider, Johnny Blaze, is trying to deal with all the various demons that have escaped from Hell still, while dragging Mephisto along with him. Danny Ketch is now the Death Rider, and has allied himself for the moment with Blackheart. They take out one of the symbiote dragons. Mephisto, Danny talks Johnny into letting Mephisto take back over as King of Hell. Mephisto even says, "Hey, I'll do you a favor. I'll take this off your hands." One of the symbiote dragons, or one of the symbiotes, and says that he'll put in this artifact he got from this torturous artifact that he got from Dormammu. Upon arriving in Hell, he back on the throne. He's I made that up. But at some point, that symbiote will come in handy, surely. And so Johnny Blaze's Ghost Rider, Danny Ketch's Death Rider, also the hold that Blackheart had over the bartender that Danny employs, as well as Stacey Dolan, his ex-girlfriend, is removed as Blackheart goes back to Hell. Demon of his word, I guess. But yeah, so that was the Ghost Rider one-shot. Made me really sad that we never got to that book didn't get to the primary arc of that book didn't really get to play out naturally. Anyway, that's it for now. As always, feel free to like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back tomorrow with the Comic Book Roundup. Links to my Facebook, Twitter, Patreon, and PayPal can be found in the description box down below. This is Rock and Roll Spock signing off, saying live long and rock hard.